So, I guess at some point you felt like gaming didn't feel like it used to. It wasn't as fun and amazing as it was a few years ago, and you're not alone, because most of us had felt like this was the case. It's a popular thing going on right now, and a lot of people notice that games just don't hit the same. They just feel different. Maybe that's because we're growing up. Maybe that's because we have other responsibilities. Maybe it's because the games are changing. I think there could be a lot of reasons why this thing is happening, and why a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of people just around the world talk about how it's not as fun to play games anymore, especially on your own. Hello, everyone. Raise up, and you've probably already noticed. Today, I want to talk about a common thing of not enjoying games by late teens and young adults because I feel like it's a bit of a popular topic and that most of the people nowadays talk about. And maybe I could show you how I started enjoying games once again. So, as we know, games feel different, or we feel different about them. Gaming doesn't hit the same. It's just not as good as it was, and people often don't feel the pleasure in playing games. And maybe that's a good thing. Of course, it depends on how you spend this time you'd spend gaming, but I feel like we just tend to forget some things. Because, of course, you can't spend your whole life playing video games. But I think it does bring some value to your life, and I feel like this time can be used in a good way. It just depends on you and what you carry out of the experience. And I myself also had a moment in my life where I didn't feel like games were the same. They were just kind of boring, and I didn't play a lot of games on my own. And if I did, it was only to hang out with my friends and not to play the game itself. But nowadays, of course, I'm having this YouTube, so I'm kind of obliged to play some games, to play Minecraft. But I'm also an achievement hunter, and that is probably one of the ways I'm playing games on my own to hit those achievements, to hit certain goals I have, and to 100% some games I wanted, because I always was a bit of a perfectionist, so I liked having something completed fully, and that's why I started achievement hunting to finish those games. So my experience is probably a bit different than the rest of the population because of this achievement hunting. But I've also felt it that, I don't want to play games, and during that time, I've spent most of it on social media, on YouTube and TikTok or Reels, just basically on my phone. So it wasn't the most productive way of spending this time. And now, as I've had those difficult moments in my life, I've started to enjoy games more once again. Maybe because I'm a bit more lonely and spend more time alone, but it did help me go through my struggles. And back in the day, wasn't gaming our way to escape from reality? Wasn't it the reason we played games in the first place? Because it was nice getting back from school and just hopping on a game to hang out with your friends or to build a castle in your single player in Minecraft. And, you know, just escape from this world to somewhere where you can do whatever you want. Even though we didn't have that much struggles as kids, it was just nice being somewhere else, exploring and experiencing something different. And that's how it was for me, just a couple of months ago in May. Lots of things had happened in my life. I was a bit broken, and during summer, I finally sat down to finish the ninth generation of Pokemon on my Switch, because I did most of the game probably 2 years ago, and I just couldn't get down to finish it because I was basically in the end game. For people who know, I was just left with all the endings of the three storylines. So with Elite Four, with the Arven stuff, and with the Cliven Cassiopeia battle. So I had most of the game done. And that's what really got me into gaming, because in a really, really long time, I couldn't sit down to play a game for a couple of hours, and I never really stayed up late to play games, even with my friends. But when I was finishing this game, Pokemon, it felt different. I started playing it probably around 5 p.m. That's what I remember. I was out of the house and I played for like 2 hours, but the battery was low, so I had to stop. And when I got back home around probably 9 p.m., I sat down to finish one of those storylines I started. And I got so engaged that I've sat through the whole game till the end around like 3 a.m. in the morning, which has never happened to me. Literally never. And that was the first time I really, really enjoyed playing a game that much. And of course, my first time enjoying a game in this new chapter of my life. And now, just a few weeks ago, I finally sat down to play Portal 2, the single player campaign, because I did the multiplayer probably a year ago with a friend, and I never really got down to actually do the single player, even though I really wanted to do it for a long time. I had this longing for probably 7 months by now. And when I finally did, I once again got so engaged that during the week, with all the responsibilities going on, with everything, I sat down and finished it in 2 sessions of 3 to 4 hours, because the whole game takes around 8 hours with your average pace, and I probably did it in like 7.5. So that was the second time I got so engaged in a game. It was so good, and I'm so happy I finally played it because of that calling I had. And I love the writing of this game. I love Wheatley. He's, I feel like, such a good character. Of course, story wise, because he's a bit of a bitch, but how he's written and how he is voice acted, I guess, I feel like it's so well done. GLaDOS, of course, a masterpiece, but Wheatley was just great, at least for me personally. And yes, I played the game probably 15 years after it came out, in the great 2026. But as a kid, I didn't have a PC and I couldn't play basically anything on my Xbox because of my parents. So I know it's a classic, and that's why I wanted to play it so badly. And I finally got to do it, and I'm so happy I did. So I feel like gaming can be fun. It's just that it will feel different than it did back in the day. But I think it's better than just sitting on your phone and basically doing nothing. Because yes, you are on your phone, you're scrolling, you're watching something, and later you don't remember anything about it. But when you play something, at least you are the one doing something, opposing to consuming something others have done. And lately, I've seen a video on YouTube. I didn't finish it because I decided to take action on my own instead of sitting there, but it said that it is better to grab a controller instead of sitting down on your phone when you get back from work or school. And I myself can say out of my own experience that when you game, it's easier to finish at a certain point and stick to your deadlines, because at least I personally know it's easier to engage into a game, and therefore I'm more careful and aware of the passing time. Opposing to you getting on your phone and scrolling for just 5 minutes, and as most often you're not really that into what you're watching, and you just turn off your brain and scroll mindlessly, you end up sitting on your phone for like 5 hours. And I think that's also what the video said, that it's better to game because why turn off your brain after school or work and not be able to do anything for the rest of the day when you can relax for an hour and later be productive? So I think it's good. I think it's better than just sitting on your phone, because you can make gaming fun again. You just have to understand what it does and how you should game properly. And you don't need others to make it fun, because most of the games I play nowadays are single player, or I just play on my own. As people have their lives and responsibilities, it's getting harder to find time to sit and play together. But of course, I sometimes do play games with my friends, just more rarely, but it's not the limiting factor that makes gaming fun. So it can be fun, you just have to find a new value in it. Because once again, I did it to escape reality, like I did as a kid, and it did help me clear out my mind a bit. Because when you enjoy some storylines and you find some connections with your life, you might get to understand a relationship or a situation better by playing the game. So I feel like it's beneficial for us to play games at least from time to time, to spend some time relaxing in a bit of a different way than usual, instead of just watching more TV or more content on your phone. So, to sum up, I think games can be enjoyable, even if you haven't felt fun playing them in years. Because we just have to understand that we are going forward with life, and we can't expect a thing to feel the same way it did. And we just have to shift the experience in a way that gives us what we are looking for. And how would you do it if not by trying? So maybe if you have a free evening and you would choose to spend it watching YouTube or just anything else, maybe try to hop on a game you haven't played in years and don't force anything, just live the moment and expect nothing. If it clicks, good for you. If not, maybe that wasn't the time. And just move on to doing other things. Because I believe that is kind of how we are supposed to live this life. As it would be boring doing the same things over and over for the span of 60 years. But to be clear, don't do it to escape from your responsibilities and to procrastinate instead of doing important things. Do it instead of doom scrolling and wasting time. That's all I can give you because I don't think there is an answer why games don't feel the same. But is it bad that they don't? I rather think it's beautiful because you can experience something different and new, which technically was the factor that made games cool in the first place, as they were different from our lives here. I guess that's it for today.